So, welcome everyone to our Good of the Whole full moon, full harvest moon call this morning, our heart resonance call, and always just another opportunity to come deeper into this communion of the heart, and the heart as the fulcrum point of love as it expands into every arena of our life. So we have this opportunity here this morning to participate in this restorative call, this practice of loving presence and going deeper into the feeling and expression of love in its wholeness. So I'm Shelley Darling. I want to welcome everyone, and we're going to warm each other up because on this harvest moon here in New Hampshire, it is cold, although the sun just started shining. And we've been lighting fires, which my body says, head south. I'm like, follow the songline of the birds, the winged ones. So yeah, so welcome. And this morning, happy to share that Dinama is back with us, and she's going to be opening our call with some resonance. As soon as we just share a little bit about, for those that are new or who might be watching this, welcome you and share a little bit about Good of the Whole. And we're here just diving into this unified field of love, this field of interrelationship, a place of co-mentoring, and where we're here to experience and embody and express our inherent wholeness. And together we come and we're intentionally building this field of coherence as whole beings contributing to and in service of a greater whole. So go check us out at goodofthewhole.com and here for this Global Heart Resonance call this morning. So just a simple housekeeping. If you're on the cell phone, please go download Zoom, and you'll be able to easily access the visibility of the group by swiping left. You'll be able to see whoever's on the call, and we invite that here to really look into each other's eyes and see that fullness and beauty. And up on the gallery, up in the right-hand corner, you'll see gallery or speaker view, and that will, you can see it is a full screen, the speaker, or you can just see the group as a whole, whichever up to you. Just a quick on the chat box, we invite you to only use it if it's an emergency, that we can stay fully focused here and really build this field together of what's emergent, what stories are emerging here this morning. So with that, I'll speak a little bit to the guidelines after we open with the resonance. And this morning we open to Harvest of Light, really honoring this time of this equinox, the time of the balance of the darkness of the light, moving into the full moon, and then there's an eclipse coming as well. So with that, I pass this beautiful talking, we'll grab this today, this beautiful talking feather over to you, Dinama.
Breathing this energetic knowing deeply into our lungs, knowing the water is informing us in the stillness of our heart. The invitation is to listen in the stillness and receive our wholeness. Here we are embodied of light. We of the darkness, the co-creation field, bringing the light, the knowing, and the presence. And the joy of being here together. I'm complete.
So continuing breathing with that. Welcoming Elizabeth, who just joined us. It feels that this time is really this time of harvesting all the seeds that we've planted. And when those seeds go into the ground, it is a time of silence. It is a time of pause. And it's a time of energy. And we're swimming in this energetic stream of light, as Danama was sharing. And that we also are those seeds. We also are being nurtured by the mother and connected to the movements of the cosmos. Totally woven together. And as those seeds begin to be nurtured, what happens? They send these little shoots out, and their roots go out, and they start connecting with that underground world of the earth, of Gaia, this beautiful, intricate, and multidimensional tapestry of life. And this morning we take a pause in this full harvest moon and remember everything that has passed till now. We are the fullness of the experience right here in present time, right now. And so those things that we feel as memories, we breathe into them. We breathe into old patterns, allowing them to surface, allowing them to be seen by the light and our light. And our light shines on those experiences with love. And in the fullness of that harvest is the energy that's moving as light coming down and surrounding, expanding and broadening and expressing this light that we are. And I really, if you didn't have a chance to look at the photo, just breathing into this image of this one Maxfield Parrish photo where this woman is just really down and her body's crumpled on this sort of solid chair and just laden with this weight of the universe. And the other side of that being this other expressive being full of stars and magic, and the light is just expressing itself out. And in the experience I was having as I saw these two images, this balance of the darkness of light and light. And here we really get to bring forth this full illumination and embracement of those images and as ourselves here this morning. So as this light stirs us into greater heights, we take a breath together, really grounding our roots. This is such a time for that. You know, here we're seeing pumpkins and squashes and all the root vegetables. You know, it's just really incredible. Yet there's no pumpkin pies yet. I didn't really like that one. Not yet anyway. So we take this deep breath and we bring our love and that sense of patience. You know, we can't, those leaves, those sprouts grow in right timing with the nutrients that it's getting. And we bring our love and patience to all of our relations, to all of our relationships here this morning. And today, together, as in unity, we harvest all of these experiences as we rise into the truth of our own light. And so with that, just a little reminder to say your name for those that are on the phone, speak from essence, and in present time, sharing the bottom line of your story. How is that emerging right here, right now, in present time? And we all are consciously listening to what's evolving in the field as we track and follow the thread of conversation. So really having that focus being on that person that's speaking before you, breathing into that and listening, holding that pause. So we invite you to really honor the pause, that liminal space of the in-between where the field is informing us. And just acknowledging when you're complete, however that comes forward for you. So really welcoming everyone on this call here this morning. And we open the call as we pass this beautiful talking hawk feather, which has a lot of meaning for us here today on the full moon, doing a water blessing, and we've been gifted a hawk to hold into this circle here this morning. So that widening of our vision. So blessings, and I'm complete.
This is Kate in South Dakota, and I will just pick up that talking feather as we're talking about the harvest. And it's interesting that the hawk is the talking feather today. I'm actually wearing a shirt that yesterday I went to see it's called, her name is Madonna Thunderhawk. And it was kind of a harvest, if you will, of her life. And this filmmaker has spent 20 years in Lakota land to make this film, and it just really presents their point of view in a beautiful manner. So I guess the hawk feather just made me say that I had to say something about this harvest of intelligent women that has culminated this beautiful, beautiful story that is so moving and so touching to the heart. And then I personally found a beautiful plum bush and was able to harvest a bunch of plums this weekend. And as we were, and the reflective piece asks us to think about the harvest now and then to go back to things we've harvested. And, I love to garden, and harvesting is a big thing for me. And so I just wanted to share a bit of the harvest with the Madonna Thunderhawk. And I thank you for listening, and I'll return that hawk feather.
Good morning, everyone. thinking in terms of harvest this morning. What came to me was, oh my God, it is time of harvest. Because I forget about those things living in I've lived in climates where we don't have a lot of season change here and things just happen all year long. So I forget about time of harvest. And I saw it differently. Recently, more things have been starting to synergistically and synchronistically come together. Wonderful healing. And I realized this morning, thinking about harvest, that yes, it's time. I have felt for a while, we're getting so close, it's time. Many of us have been working in different ways to help shift consciousness on the planet and bring forth a new world, a new paradigm. Some would say heaven on earth, but I believe heaven's already here. We just have to see it and realize it. And this is a time. This is an 11-year time of harvest. All these things coming ready. It's time. So I think many of us have been working for sometimes a decade or more to bring some of these things forward. I think it is time now. This is the time of harvest. We keep feeling things are happening now, this September, October. And I'm very, very excited and hopeful. Just feeling that, yes, it is time. We're harvesting finally. So all these efforts for all these years, it's time. So that's kind of what I was feeling and getting on the thoughts of harvest. So thank you. I'm complete for now.
This is Dina. We are the harvest. It is ours to create and live this truth of our being into life. I'm complete.
This is Shelley. And I'm just delighting in something. One of the things that we've been doing here, and I've been doing for a few months, is this 7-direction blessing. And had a call the other night and did it for this call. It was really beautiful. It was a consortium call, and there were a few people on from Australia. And it was really, really interesting because when I think of harvest, I think of cycles. It's part of a whole cycle. And what happened on this call in saying the 7 directions, and we all did it together, was this voice that popped up about being in the southern hemisphere. And for them, the directions are not the same, and have different meanings even to the different animal totems. And so it sort of instilled in me this opening to again feel this movement of harvest as a whole living system. And how does that feel as a whole living system? It is ours to create. And I feel like in this creation, it's inviting us to really feel into the whole cycle. Yes, we if we're in the northern hemisphere and we're where I am, it's like you're experiencing a real, like it was one day 80 and the next day was 30 or 40. It was like that fast. And so just feel that again in terms of really feeling into how those tree roots go down into the mother and then down into the crystalline structure and down into the magma, and it's all connected. And and this was so beautiful. Najma started to describe this experience of as the sap is being sucked back down out of the trees in the northern hemisphere. It's coming up into the roots of the trees and bringing new green growth and spring to the southern hemisphere. And there's something really magical about really feeling that. So I'm dropping that into this ocean here this morning of our love. I'm complete.
Hello, lovelies. It's Elizabeth. Here in New Hampshire with my darling Shelley. There's been in my life a reflection of the other side of the cycle, which is that of, as Shelley said, the sap retreating back into the matrix of Gaia. And that's when we really look at it from the deepest core truth, that's death. And as our energies, our beautiful bubble that we get to carry as ourselves for a lifetime retreats back into the magma, into the matrix of the earth, we're not gone. We're, what southern hemisphere are we feeding in that time? And really honoring that process. And that's been part of my life in the last few years, as my stepfather passed away and my sister's husbands passed away, and just yesterday my sister's goat passed away, and really the feeling the sweetness of that process as we cycle. And harvest is the abundance, but we know coming right after it is a retreat where the energies of the earth come back into the earth and gather for the next season, gather strength for the next season, for the next expression, for the next fruit, for the next harvest. And that's the way. It's the way of all life. So I want to allow us to feel that complete cycle and not end it after harvest, to allow it to renew, and the snows to cover the earth if that's where you live, or even in the tropics, I know there's cycles with the plants. They're subtler, but they're still there. So I love you all. And I'll pass the hawk feather.
And I'll pick the hawk feather up. I'm Grace in Lexington, Kentucky. And Elizabeth, I can relate to what you said. My father just passed away 2 weeks ago. And going inward through that death process and witnessing it and being a loving presence through it and honoring his harvest time. And now knowing that he is somewhere else, you know, he is returned to mother, to the energy, but be it the harvest of what he did in his life and celebrating that we've been through. And the lesson I learned from him of unconditional love, I'm grateful for. And so this has put me in an even deeper space of evaluating the conscious choices I make to love unconditionally in all aspects of my life and out in the world. And how do I carry this, harvest this love even deeper and more consciously, holding it for myself and others. I'm complete.
This is Nahid. This last Thursday was the first anniversary of my mom's transition. And I found, even though my mind knew it, but my body was doing its own thing. There was this waters running through my face with no sound, with no, it was deep, deep, deep sadness. And it was really taking me to a place that it was just very new. And 2-3 days I went through the process, but talking about the renewal, somehow I've been said by 2-3 psychics that my life work would start when my mom would leave this reality. And I never knew why, how that is related. I found myself in such deep gratitude, expanded, extended, it's just fully present, feeling being showered by abundance, love, presence, the flow, the richness. And all that I have worked for all my life, I know it that from the beginning it's been the path of devotion. And now, after 7 years that I came back from Iran and have not been teaching, and it's been in the background, but deeply desiring it and surrendering to that. There is a group called Freedom of the Heart. It's formed from Europe, Iran, Canada, here. And in the time of the harvest of my life, all that I have put in and gave my life for is coming in such overwhelming joy. That it's like I am on my knees with tears. Singing with no words, just it sings itself. It is hallelujah time. And I celebrate the birthing of the wholeness of love that we are. This is a Dylan. I am complete. This never would be complete. Never.
Hello again, this is Karen. For those that may not know, I'm in Costa Rica. I've lived in Michigan, New Jersey, Florida, and now Costa Rica. Listening to some of the talk of harvest and rebirth in northern and southern hemispheres. For over 28 years, I've lived in subtropics or tropics now, and I can't help wondering what it means when you live close to the middle. There are very subtle changes, yes, cycles in the plants, but it's a never-ending rebirth and harvest. Rebirth, growth, and harvest. Rebirth, growth, and harvest. And I wonder what this means to the planet, because that brought me to seeing and thinking, well, now with the technology we have, we can grow tropical plants in cold climates and vice versa. We can have lights that create in any cycle, northern, southern hemisphere, center, a never-ending cycle of abundance of food and nourishment. We know that we have many earth changes going on and possible pole shifts, weather, climate, all over has been shifting. Patterns of airflow have dipped that normally don't cross the middle line, are dipping below and dipping up. And I wonder where this is leading us. You know, they prophesized a time, a golden age, a time, and I do believe that we were not necessarily meant to live in a cycle of birth, decline, and death, at least not as we've known it, you know, especially when it's usually deterioration and death. Maybe, just maybe, I wonder, are we entering a new paradigm, a time of constant rebirth and abundance on all levels? And I wonder what that would mean to humanity and everything on the planet. I wonder if that's how things were really meant to be here. How that might be. Hmm.
This is Oriana, and I was feeling the harvest moon as nourishing. And yesterday we planted our fall garden. As here in Tucson, in the great Southwest, we have 2 growing cycles and we grow throughout the winter time. As it's now cool enough, having been 100 degrees last week. So we planted in that same full moon of harvesting is the rebirth, the planting, and the nourishing, so that the harvest that nourishes us is also the nourishment given back to the soil, given back to the world, given back to the earth. And in my contemplations, I have been feeling into what it means to be fertile ground. Fertile ground. Imagine a little speck of stardust floating in a vast ocean of universe. And a seed falling upon fertile ground. Where life is non-existent, and then in just a moment, a miracle, life exists. What is it that makes the ground fertile? What is it that makes it receptive? What is it to feel receiving? Receiving some communication of something urging life to come alive. Cycles of moon, the heart begins to beat. What is that pulse? How does it know? And how does it know how to make a heartbeat for generations? I wonder. And I am complete.
Good morning, everyone. This is June from California. And when I think of harvest, I think of what farmers do with certain crops at the end of many of their seasons. You know, they fold these crops back into the soil to enrich and strengthen it, to make the next harvest richer and fuller. And when I think of those who grow into love and live their lives fully, and literally put back into the soil of our lives the richness of who they are and what they've learned and achieved. And they do it to show their gratitude and to grow new and richer consciousness for all. We are the soil that creates the harvest with our love and gratitude and hard work and sharing. And we are the harvest that nourishes more love and growth over and over again. And just imagining life as a continual enriching of the soil and more abundance of the harvest, and then taking in that richness into our bodies, our minds, and our spirits, and letting that grow our consciousness and our love even more. Just as a heart-warming and fulfilling feeling. I just wanted to share this morning, and I'm complete, and I pass back the heart feather.
This is Shelley. I'm just going to speak into the field, just a line, because I'm feeling, even though Nancy isn't with us, Nancy Chaconis on the phone, I'm hearing her so loudly. These are lights. We are these are lights. We are the harvest. We are the creation. We are the movement. We are the love. We are the water. I can feel Elizabeth right here as well. We are the water. We are the water that nourishes the harvest, because we wouldn't have a harvest if we don't really feel into the deepening waters, which is really what we do here on this call, isn't it? And just to really honor the water and the moon, that frequency of the mother, the womb waters, cherishing the womb waters here today as we gather. It's really what we're doing. And in that embracement, the harvest brings the new children of the next generations, be it plants, animals, winged ones, trees. Just always this envelopment and unfolding and enriching of the new children. And from that place, there's such a deep reverence that immediately, instantly, and innately happens. And so we come together to breathe this into form. It's our breath, it's our intention, our intentioning that breathes this into form. And that has breathed us into form. Such an amazing movement of energy, of consciousness. And it does take the inspiration or the idea, and it does take the the atoms forming and clustering, and it does take the actioning. All those three things in oh gosh, sorry, in my book. So the Waitaha, they understood what they called the mana, the Maori, and the Wairewa. They understood how they worked together and created this gorgeous movement of life and cycles and harvesting. So yeah, that past the heart feather.
It feels like we're in a dance with light and dark, and finding new steps together, co-creating mindfully together, the light and the dark, the masculine and feminine, all of that duality, dancing into wholeness, dancing into unity, and really creating the dance as we go. There's no steps, there's no like pre-prototype. It's emergent creativity. And I feel us collectively dancing this truth of our being into life. So I'm complete.
I've been hearing this for a while in my listening for guidance. That is, it's celebration time. It's the time of celebration. And I'm listening. It's like, what, how, what is that? How does it look like? It's the time to sing and dance. It's time for singing and dancing. There is nothing else to do. In the knowing, being the knowing of the celebration, the singing and dancing, truly, as you said, there is no step, there is no strategy. It's just to sing and dance and allow it to unfold to its own beauty. I celebrate that. I celebrate that. Yeah.
In all of that thread from the last couple of speakers, because thinking about the celebration of those seasons and cycles of light and dark, and that not only is the harvest, I love the analogy of the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere working together in that way. And I love that idea. And here I am in the prairie of Nebraska, where we have 4 seasons, and it is harvest. And the fields, the tractors are out, and this harvest moon was literally used by the farmers to harvest later. And there's a several day span of really nice light that they got so they could stay in the fields longer. And now they have GPS tractors and lights and heat, air conditioned, and everything is shifting, changing. But the light and that balance of light and dark and the turning of our beautiful earth from northern to southern hemisphere is really important for migration. It's the intelligence that's teaching all of nature. It's telling my plants when the light goes down, it's time to start shedding your leaves. It's time to begin that harvest of this year so we can move into next year. So it's not only just these fields of plentiful abundance, food and yumminess that we think about. This harvest time really is for all of our animals and plants and nature on the earth. The squirrels are busy harvesting and putting away for the winter right now. And so just being really in celebration with you of these seasons and cycles and this harvest moon that it is very necessary in the natural world. And with that, I'm complete.
So I think of the singing and the dancing. And admittedly, I haven't been, well, I sing once a week in a choir. But there's a word that I've used most of my life for this, and Julie said it. It's abundance. It's just, yeah, it's abundance. So shake your buns, girls. That's good. And guys. And everything in between.
This is Julie again. I just want to, with that theme of celebration and abundance, just to acknowledge the harvest festivals that still go on everywhere, where we're celebrating harvest. And, you know, we have some right down the road here, and some beautiful, beautiful gatherings of community and gratitude to celebrate harvest. Shake our buns at the harvest festival. I'm complete.
Well, let's just take a breath with that, dance with that, open our hearts even just a little more. Got the abundance happening here. Oh, yeah, let's just stretch and open and receive this light of today. And it's interesting. I love that piece about, you know, thinking about the harvest festivals. It's so amazing because it's a time when families, you know, we always think of Christmas as the time when people come together, but it's the harvest time. You know, especially like up here, people are gathering for the fall fairs and, you know, so much joy. And we went apple picking, you know, and really just the fruit of the vine, you know, just really in that full enjoyment. And let's add in playfulness of this moon. And not to forget that we're moving into an eclipse, which is just this really transmutative energy here as we you know, move with the energy of the seasons and the love. And I just ran into a mystery festival that I never even heard about. It has to do with Eurasia or something. I have to go look it up. But you know, there's so much that we have to open to receive today and every day. So with that, just want to remind anyone who's watching the replay to come to be able to receive your weekly theme, which is really amazing. Just want to talk about the theme for a minute. We call it the resonant reflection, because the way that reflection happens is by really listening to this emergent field, what's moving, and allowing, anytime any one of us, if we have a beautiful resonance council, I'm thinking it's about 8 people, just off the cuff, and, Dinama and Grace and Nahid and Henry and June, and just we come together and we really create these reflections to focus on, from literally the juice of the field. So we're celebrating that as well. We celebrate the gift of this intelligence that brings us together each time, each week, each day. So with that, we spread this joy. We also offer you to come to the Wednesday Mentoring Stewards call. You can go to Good of the Whole and learn about how to become a mentoring steward. We're really building that. Julie's really offering such a beautiful opportunity to co-mentor. It's a little bit different than even co-creating. Co-mentoring involves a really big respect for the voice that's coming through, and we'll be hearing more about that on Wednesdays. So go to goodofthewhole.com. Also, for those of you listening, I know we're getting feedback. We will be putting these replays on the website, but for now, go to Good of the Whole Facebook page, and you'll find the replays, and you can send them out and share them. And don't forget to invite people here, because it's such a powerful experience here, very unique. So with that, everyone can take themselves off mute. Thank you, Dinama, for being so present here this morning, being such a beautiful support. And we end our call with this gorgeous rippling of yum. Yum.
Yum, 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 yum.